Go live. I apologize. I didn't have everything set up the way I wanted. So let's see here. Let's get this set. Chat filter, all messages. I was trying to get this all set up so I wasn't doing this like Johnny last minute here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start talking. You and I, we're gonna go out to the kitchen and we're gonna get a cup of coffee. My allergies have been so bad, guys. I apologize if my voice is bad. That's why I didn't film anything here recently. And this is going to be today's content. So typically you guys would get a video on Fridays, but it's my birthday. And I typically on my birthday do something special. So let's go make a cup of coffee before people start showing up. I do this every year. It's kind of like a guilty pleasure for myself. I try to avoid drama in the knife world as just like basically I try not to get involved in like the internet drama. But this is a different case. So on my birthday every year, I do this because I absolutely hate the individual we're about to talk about. So I'm gonna get myself a cup of coffee here. And we're gonna do it in my I'm a Ray of fucking Sunshine cup, because why not? But there is a gentleman that took the knife industry and knife enthusiasts for a ride a while back. Now I know there's two of you here. Please let me know how the audio is. When I do live feeds, I can't test to make sure that the interface for the expensive wireless mics is working. It's impossible for me to check that first. So just give me a thumbs up. Let me know. If you're here, please drop a like. All you have to do is double tap the screen. It would be appreciated. But at any rate, a few years ago, 8 to be precise, there was a gentleman that started a Kickstarter. And we're going to sit down. We're going to look at the Kickstarter. But he started a Kickstarter for a knife, and he basically stole everybody's money. All the backers. We're going to sit down. I have it pulled up on another device, on another phone, and we're going to look at the Kickstarter project. But I do this every year, not just as my little guilty pleasure, as a birthday present to myself, because it allows me to just be honest about hating someone, and I try not to do that. I find it bad for my karma. But every year on my birthday, I'm 50 today, by the way. Look pretty good for 50, right? Give me a thumbs up for that. I do this not just because I enjoy lambasting on an absolute, and this is going to be a demonetized live feed, so if you would be inclined to drop a super chat, I'd be fine with that. Because I'm going to say a lot of bad things. This individual is just complete and utter piece of shit that stole a bunch of money from knife enthusiasts and people that didn't really know any better and thought they were getting something special. So, like, he stole from the knife community in general. He took on this thing, but it's not just him. There's another guy involved. So we're talking about Paulo Balzano. Of the Mars knife infamy, the Mars knife Kickstarter infamy, basically ruined Kickstarter projects for knife makers in perpetuity for the rest of the time. You're not going to be able to do a Kickstarter because everybody's going to remember the Mars knife debacle. So, we'll look at it. I'm making a cup of coffee. We're going to take a deep dive into it, and I'm going to tell you all the stuff. So Paulo Bolzano was not a knife maker. He was not a knife designer. He was a piece of shit that was really good at doing photorealistic renders. He was an animator for several shows on Cartoon Network. He did like 3D graphic animation that is, the guy really screwed up by trying to get into the knife industry. That coffee is way darker than I thought it was going to be. So, well, here's the deal. Kickstarter does not. That's the problem with Kickstarter. Everybody thinks that Kickstarter has all these rules. They really don't. Kickstarter will allow you basically do what if you want. If you set a project up with a flex goal and your actual project goal is like $30,000 and then you're going to start production. Well, even if you don't hit that $30,000 mark on a flex goal, you still get that money. If you hit your goal, you still get your money. There are some projects that come back, but the fact is, the money has to be released to the individuals for them to do production. Now, if it comes out before they start doing production, this guy definitely hit his goal. So if you've hit your goal and that gives you that money to go into production, well, the problem is, well, they got their money and they never did the production. That's Kickstarter. It can't do anything about that. And you can't really hold anyone accountable because Kickstarter has a disclaimer that says that they're not to be held financially liable for anything that does not get delivered. So at any rate, we're going to go through the whole thing. Back in 2006, no, 16, I'll have to look at it. It wasn't 2006. I was still in the military then. At any rate, this guy starts a Kickstarter. I've got the Kickstarter pulled up on my other device. So he got $29,000 on Kickstarter, but there were also other crowdfunding sources. There was, I think there was one on another website. They were taking direct income. It was him and his partner, Voss Offren. And Voss Offren had a project, and he got it funded to a tune of, between the two of them, about $70,000. Like income for a lot of people for 1 year. And they took off with it. So we're going to go through it. We're going to look at the I'm literally making my cup of coffee for this. A lot of times I would do this at night, and we would do it differently, and I would have the project pulled up. That's still pouring coffee out. Oops. But I wanted to do it this way because it's easier, and I can move around, and I can do stuff, and I'm not tethered to a green screen. So absolutely fraud. They ripped off some really good people, and I mean, you can see it. There's still people going in, and they're still making comments as if this is going to happen. They have faith, and they're good people, and he really screwed them, which is what sucks because the knife community is pretty much full of a lot of good people. And then there are people out there, and it's a common thing. There's people out there that take advantage of the good people in the knife community and walk off with money. I just recently was talking with somebody about how bad business partners are with a lot of folks in the knife industry. Knife designers, knife makers, and then they wind up with a horrible business partner, and then they're screwed. So we're going to really get into this. There's another video that's going to be coming about this because I have a personal interest in this. It's going to be a very similar topic, but we're not going to do it now. It may involve scab over at Choir Boys Cutlery. So let me pull this up. Let me get this pulled up. Let me get this out of my side. That pokes right in my side. Beardo the Weirdo, where have you been, sir? Where have you been? I don't know why. You just stop. You don't write. You don't stop by. You don't hang out. You don't do any of these things. So on this device, I have pulled up the Mars Knife Kickstarter. So this project started. Let's look at the campaign first. So the campaign, this was originally started, and I'm going to need my reading glasses, so don't. Well, I mean, I know you quit that job because you had moral problems with what was going on at work, and you had a good job and you quit. And I mean, I absolutely respect you for being that strong in your moral convictions that you'd give up a job. I quit a job too, same reasons, couldn't believe what they were doing. At any rate, so this is the overview. This project started all the way back in 2016, right? Back in 2016, and guys, I would like to remind you, this is probably going to be demonetized. I'm doing this because I do this every year on my birthday. If you would like to drop a super chat, that's fine, but at least go touch the like button. It's free. It loves it. It gives you a thumbs up. Just go double tap your screen and give me a thumbs up on this one. So this project started in 2016. I'm looking at the timeline. And so the timeline was supposed to be, so I don't remember when it started, but the end of the campaign was, the campaign launched end of July, 2016. 2016, July. Mid-August campaign completes. Mid-August surveys sent out. Beginning September, materials ordered, pre-production. End September, in-house production starts. Mid-November, final finishing and assembly starts. Beginning December 1st, first orders ship, 2016. This is the knife that people were trying to get. This is the knife that people were entering this campaign for. I'm going to try and pull it up here. So the rewards, you backed it because you believed it. They had a $375 pre-run serial numbers 1 through 10. And they were to be $40 below retail price, $379. Now, first of all, a $375 knife should be something a little more intricate than, say, that right there. The plainest of basic bitch plain Jane knives. No, this scam already happened. Like, this is the one that we do on my birthday every year. Beardo the Weirdo. And I'm sorry if I'm not looking at it. So the blade was CTS XHP. Handles were grade 5, 6AL, 4V titanium, grade 5 titanium, which is standard titanium alloyed with vanadium and aluminum, right? Hardware would be stainless steel, phosphor bronze washers, right? And there was a lot of rewards for this. You could pay $375 for serial numbers 1 through 10. $379 early bird special receives one below retail, $40 below retail. $399 Kickstarter special receives one Mars pocket knife built at $20 below retail. Mars XHP core was supposed to be $599, and it was an ugly, ugly Damascus that was horrible. And then there was a Valsano Duo, which was a collaboration with the Tie Raptor multi-tool, which we're going to get into that, from Voss Offren, and the Mars knife for $599. Well, that was, yeah, $599. Estimated delivery December 2016. So that, and this was the Duo. So you got that. Now, Voss Offren was doing a Kickstarter for that pry bar. And that pry bar also collected about $30,000 on Kickstarter. If you look at the campaign, it was fully funded. It was fully funded in, oh crap, hang on. It was fully funded $29,687 was fully funded in August of 2016. August 2016. Now you would think that those knives got delivered, right? $30,000 there. Now Voss Offren backed out, and Paolo Bolzano took over the project for Voss Offren, which means technically he's into Kickstarter funders for about $70,000 total when you look at backers that backed with you know, outside of that network and things like that, people that were trying to get one, you would think that those knives had gotten delivered. There is a FAQ section. The problem with all of this is I am unable to get into some of these because Paulo Balzano, one, blocked me on all social media and then took down the access to the project from anyone that is not a backer. But we can still look at updates and we can still look at comments. So updates on this, we're going to scroll down. We're going to look at the updates. We're going to pull them all up. So we're going to go to the very bottom, and the updates are, read more. Production of a product is the sum of many factors. He goes through all of this. This was October 15th, 2016. He's already telling him that he's hours, days, weeks is spent making da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Fortunately, if planned for all of these, blah, 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 blah. So he goes through all of this, right? This was back, he did a short video, he showed the equipment, but the problem is, this was October, in-house manufacturing, all systems go. So that was, nope, I'm sorry. I can't load the other updates. So I can only go back. There were updates before this. This is update number 9. So he was staying on top of it. He was like, closing on the finish line with December deliveries. And in this update, he shows a picture of all of these knives being done. Bunch of knives done, right? I was hoping to have these ready to send to the laser engraver sooner, but it wasn't willing to compromise on the quality of the work, blah, 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 blah. This is December 15th, 2016. Remember, on the timeline, Mr. Balzano said that he was going to have these out the door beginning of December. Right? This is December 15th. He's giving you an update as to why you haven't gotten your knives yet. December 16th, or December 15th, 2016, right? That's update number 10. Back to the updates. Closing on the finish line, he posts that up twice on the same day. And then this post is for backers only, providing the my best work, the price, shipping delays, right? But he's blocked. You can't see this. That post is for backers only, as are the rest of these, so that you can't go in and say anything. So here we go. The first one, as you scroll up, that you can read, it says here, 3 finishing options to say I'm sorry. When was this? This was May 4th, 2017. Let's see here. December. He told you it was going to be late. Then there was a bunch of updates we can't read because he doesn't want the world to know what he was lying to his backers about. Big old dog hair on there. December, January, February, March, April, May. We're already 5 months behind, but it can happen. You do get delays, right? You get delays. Let's keep going. Obviously, we're going to keep going with this. So that was May 2017. The next update from Mr. Balzano, which, by the way, that's not his actual name, was then September 9th, 2017. So we're already 5 months behind in May, right? So May, June, July, August, September. Now we're 9 months behind. Now we're getting into the realm of, that's just ridiculous. And please, guys, if you're here, please drop a like. And I'm going to say a bunch of nasty stuff about this individual, so it's probably going to be demonetized. If you want to do a super chat, I'd appreciate it, but you don't have to. Just dropping a like is all I ask. And share this. So on September 9th, 2017, 9 months after the slated delivery date, he says, I'm not just here making knives. Well, obviously, because if you were just making knives, well, they would have fucking been done 5 months ago. right? 5 months in the past, back in May when they were already 5 months late. See what I'm saying? Like, well, I'm 4 months late. Technically, we're about 10 months into this. See how this is going, right? It says, I'm not just here trying to get knives done. I'm here trying to get perfect knives done, and I'll take all the time I need. I'd much rather deal with the occasional Paulo as a scammer bullshit that gets thrown around over social media than have 80 backers receive knives that aren't as good as they could be. Here, let me throw this out there for you. No one has received a knife yet. So it's obvious that he just couldn't get them perfect, right? It's obvious. It's become clear. So that's that one. That was September 29th, 2017. The next update on this project that he now has built the knife community and 80 backers out of $30,000 plus comes October 1st, 2018. September, October, a year and 1 month after the last update, which was already 9 months late. The project was supposed to be delivered December 2016. It's now October 2018. We're coming up on 2 years. No knives. This is the update that he has. I'm gonna let you guys listen to it. This is the update that he has the unmitigated fucking testicles to fucking throw out there. You ready for this? I do this every year. This is my birthday present to myself. Is it gonna play? Here, hang on. Let's look.
I think we're just going to keep it simple, though. Yeah, like if a customer's knife is shipping as part of this first shipment, then they'll get information saying that their knife is on its way. And then if a customer does not receive shipping information that their knife is part of the first shipment, then it means that their knife isn't part of this first shipment. It seems pretty simple to me. So that's what we're going to do. All right, meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned. Like he was actually in a fucking meeting with anyone other than himself. About this time was when it started coming out that he had how do I say this? He had spent a bunch of the money on a bunch of stuff. There were pictures of him like in his underwear in the shop. He got them kicked out of their shop where they honestly were going to try and make things. This is October 2018. He'd gotten them kicked out because he was living in the shop. So he'd spent all the money and he had taken a bunch of the money from the investors and invested it in another project. We'll hear about that when we start reading some. So that was October 1st, 2018, right? Talking about a first shipment, even though there was a tray. Do you guys remember the tray of all those fucking knives that we saw? Do you remember the tray of all those knives that we saw that were waiting to go to the laser engraver? What happened to those? I'll tell you about that. Those knives never existed. Remember I told you he was an animator and very good at photorealistic 3D renders. I mean, obviously he was very talented at that. As far as, well, apparently he was talented at stealing people's fucking money too. So, the final update comes, and it says, although, now this was, people thought this was gonna be good, right? I'll read some more here. It says, although I'm not 100% solid on the date, I'm happy to report delivery will resume before October. Thank you for all your continued patience, Paulo. Now this was June 4th, 2020. 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20. That was the last update. No one has received a knife. It is now 2024, August. August 30th, my birthday. No further updates. What we can do is go look at the 182 comments. Justin Bartolo. Any updates? It's been 8 years. 8 years. 8 years to make 70 knives. 8 years to make 70 knives. What's the point, EDC? We're just going over. I do this every year. It's the Paolo Bolzano Mars Knife Kickstarter that kicked off 2016 and still has yet to have a single knife delivered. So $29,687 into this Kickstarter project. 70 backers, 0 knives delivered. 8 years to make 70 knives. I watched the boys at Ferrum Forge Knife Works make 200 knives in about 6 weeks. So back in, so that was, this update was August 14th this year. August 14th, just the other day, Justin Bartolo. Any updates? Nathan says, I forgot about this project. More than 6 years now since funding and more than 2 years since the last update. I've backed and received 9 other projects since then, with 3 more on the day. I've also ordered and received 2 custom knives in that time, both high-end from the maker. For someone that holds themselves up as an artist, a designer, and a maker, you ought to feel shame for this situation. Do I still want this? Yes, of course. So that was back in November 2022. Conrad Warwick, March 2022. 6 years is such a long time. Please publish if you're not making these knives and let everyone move on. P.S. I went for all the extras. Really like the look of the knife. That's a guy that put $600 into this project. Somebody got a message that was held for review. Well, I don't even know what that is. It's not in English. Don't know what it is. I don't know what language that is. Obviously, I don't speak it. This is Javier Bernal. Wow, it's been 6 years. Had I known this was going to happen, I never would have gone through this. Mark Clarkson, January 2022. I guess another year. Oh, no, there were 75 of us. Very disappointing. Javier Bernal, January 2021. I guess another year and no knives. Javier Bernal, 2020. Any update? John Egan, June 2020. I'm looking forward to using the Mars knife. Fantastic design. I'm sure it will be well made. Well, if it's taking you 8 years, it better be the best fucking knife ever. All right, you know what? We're gonna just, there we go. So here's the thing with, we'll talk about that in a second, Beardo the Weirdo. It is strange how Kickstarter works. Kickstarter gives you no guarantee of receiving. There's a couple ways that people get around the funding. So one is they do what's called a flex goal, which means, okay, we have this goal, but if we hit it, no matter how much money we get all of it, right? So I can set my goal for $60,000, but if I only get 1,000, I still get it. It's a flex goal. If the project gets funded, they get the money. If the people don't produce a product, Kickstarter is held how do you say this? You can't go after Kickstarter because the person that did the project didn't deliver a knife. You can try to go after the person, but because it was funded through Kickstarter, there's no guarantee that you're going to get the product. It's in the contract you signed with Kickstarter. Kickstarter, if they find out there's fraud involved before it gets fully funded, then they will terminate the project and refund the money to the individuals. But once a project is fully funded, basically you're fucked. Which is what, this is the kind of language I typically don't use, on live feeds because they get demonetized, but on this one I don't care because I just want to make sure everyone knows Paulo Bolzano needs to stay the fuck out of the knife industry. So that was John Egan. That was John Egan in June of 2020. George Schmidt, May 2020, and I'm going backwards through, and I'm not going to read all of them because there's a lot of them, but some of them are funny. Any updates? Mark Carlson was a super backer, which means he's backed a lot of projects on Kickstarter. Says very disappointing. May 2020, April 2020. Tom Arce, nothing. John, this is the one. Back in December 4th, 2019. John goes in and says, Bolzano backed Gluon, modular desktop collaborative robotic arm by SCA. This project cost anywhere upwards of $500. I doubt if he went for the low end of it, which means that he was taking money and backing another project with the money that these people put in. John says, eventually he still exists. This is December 2019. Evidently he still exists, just backed another Kickstarter project with our money. Brian Gibson, 2019, November 2019. Update. Paulo is still a cuckold. Nathan, 2019. Nothing going on 3 years. Mark Carlson, 2019, August. Anybody get anything? Ryan Gastano, in April 2019. Even though it's been a minute, this guy is still drinking the Kool-Aid. Survive Knives, I'm going to tell you, I thought Survive Knives was selling knives twice. They were taking money from backers. They were pre-orders. He was taking money from pre-orders and then selling them. Like, he would take the pre-order, do the knife, and sell that knife to someone else. So he's basically getting paid for that knife twice. Would not at all surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at all. However, I do agree with a lot of the stuff he did say about some of the CPM steals. All right, so Javier Bernal, 2019, still waiting. Charles Burin, April 2019, please update. John, February 2019, $29,687. Says they've started shipping, no one's seen a knife. John, November 2018, any shipped yet? It just keeps going. There's a couple of them on here that are great. We get into a couple of these that are great. This is Brian Gibson, 2018, October. It's sad you continue to post fake updates. No one believes you're shipping anything, almost like you didn't have a plan to wrap up your scam. What's your final move? Claim ninjas broke in and stole everything? Question mark. Cody says, so who is this dick sucker and where do I find him? No one knows. He basically fell off the map. Brian Gibson, October 1st. This is one of my favorites. Right? And guys, if you want to know what happened with Survive Knives, go find Heavyset EDC's video about it. And it's pretty ugly. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some manner of, on top of mental issues with Guy, I would imagine there's some sort of, typically when you see this, it's substance abuse. That's what's happened with Paulo. Paulo fucking snorted all the money from this project except what he threw in and backed other projects with. And him and Voss Offeren went to Europe and bought synthesizers and musical equipment. Just saying, like, you don't get that erratic. So let's see here. No, it's not Survive Knives. We're talking about Paulo Bolzano. So this is the best one. This is my favorite one. We're going to stop reading the comments. We're going to talk about some other stuff about him. Oh, no, there's a couple of them. There's several. Break in and these are all from the same guy, Brian Gibson. Next one, October 1st, 2018. It would be best for everyone if you didn't exist. Brian Gibson, October 1st, 2018. Same day. If you have kids, I feel sorry for them. You're a terrible person. Brian Gibson, Hey, Paul, I hope you cut an artery when you're packing my knife. October 1st, these are all on the same day. This guy's a crook, and Kickstarter is too for allowing them on their platform. I'm pretty sure they received a ton of complaints and taken zero. The problem is, by the time all this happened, he, like I said, already funded. I made that coffee way strong. Javier Bernal, August 2018. I don't think we are going to ever get these knives. I think you're right. Got any updates? Got any updates? This guy did this every day for like 2 weeks. Got any updates? Got any updates? Got any updates? Got any updates? Any updates? Any updates? Brian Gibbs, so he put up a post, Paulo put up a post where he's like, I'm not, if you're not being respectful and considerate, your knife moves to the end of the line. There was some other updates. So he also, this comment has been removed by Kickstarter. There's a lot of these that got removed. So he came out and he put out a bunch of posts, a bunch of updates, and they've been removed since. He's like, did I spend all of your money on this? Yes, I did. And it was a bunch of updates. So Paulo Bolzano took all this money and never once made a product, a single one. So, you know, I said we would come back to it. All those knives you saw in that bin. And I wish Flippin' Bean was here. He's got as much info on this as I do. He and I have deep dived into the Paulo Bolzano kiddie pool. I mean, you can't really deep dive into it because he's at the shallow end of the gene pool. But so basically, he took all this money, and it comes out that he is a animator, 3D graphics, 3D animation, and he does an incredible job of it. And so all of those knives that you saw, none of those knives were ever made. They never existed, never once. They were all fake, and he ripped people off for $30,000. But then there was another 47, there was another 40, I want to say 47K that was thrown into Voss Offren's project. And when Voss Offren just dropped out, Bolzano basically took all of that funding, and he's like, oh, well, that's part of my project now. The last I saw anything, Paulo Bolzano was trying to make his machine shop out of a refrigerated trailer somewhere in the woods. Now, I'm going to tell you now, that's probably not going to work well. First of all, I don't think that's even legal to do. And second of all, what the fuck? I just don't understand. And this is why Kickstarter could have been something great for the knife community. It could have. Oh, what is this? So I've been missing a bunch of chat. I think we're talking about Survive Knives. This is even worse than Survive Knives. I think Survive Knives there was a couple things at play. I think there was some mental illness. There definitely was. And there was something else to it. Being mentally is no excuse. I'm mentally ill. I'll technically. I worry about this knife community. Are great people, and the savages of the world will take advantage of y'all. I'm sorry, I can't. I'm having a hard time reading that. I don't even know if they had a liquidation sale. So here's the thing. Like, I really wonder. So we're going to talk about the Survive Knives thing for a second. I've kind of scared it away from that, but you know, it may as well talk about it. I do know that Heavyset EDC, and you guys can send him this if you would like. Heavyset EDC dumped a lot of money into that project, and basically he had a lien on a piece of equipment. So basically, he invested in the company by saying, okay, this amount of money, and we're going to back it with this piece of equipment. So I don't know if he ever got that money. And I don't know if he ever got the equipment. So what I know is that Guy was trying to say that he was going to continue filling as many orders as he could, but the fact was he had taken so much money. He had taken so much money at that point that there was just no way, like, he was robbing Peter to pay Paul. He was taking money out of his own personal accounts, his ex-wife's personal accounts. He was using the money that Heavyset EDC I don't know if Heavyset EDC got his money out of that. But the problem with Survive Knives was he just, like, he had all the knives there. Like, they were there. He just wasn't delivering them. Like, anytime you saw a video, you saw these knives that basically were in various states of finish. And if he had just sat down and did it and got him out the door, and Heavyset EDC talks about that, but that's not what this is about. This is what I do on my birthday every year, guys. I give myself this little guilty pleasure of busting on Paulo Bolzano. Now, I do know that he showed up at a knife show where my buddy Flippin' Bean was at. That's Adam. I can't think of his last name. I want to say Adam Chavez. And he showed up and he was brown bagging it. So he was selling his knives outside of the show, which is against the rules. And Adam turned him in, and then Paulo said he was going to kick the shit out of him. And if you've ever seen Paulo Bolzano, he looks like a tool you'd used to get a football out of a storm drain. And Adam Chavez, a Flippin' Bean, is not a little gentleman. He's an ex-Marine, prior Marine, not a pleasant person to begin with. So what was this? Yeah, what's the point, EC? I know you did do a shop tour, and here's the thing, Scab and I have talked about it a bunch of times, and I found your channel through him. He told me I needed to go follow your channel. So I did a shop tour and have videos that there was thousands of blanks waiting to get built. And yeah, and I saw videos that he just had literally hundreds of knives just sitting, ready to, they were done. For all intents and purposes, they were done. Those knives were done. So I just don't see how he let it get that far. Now, Paulo, I honestly don't think that that guy over at Survive Knives set out to fuck people. I really don't. I think that he just was one of those guys that maybe has some ADD, maybe has some OCD stuff going on, and he just couldn't let go of any piece of the process to allow anybody to help him get stuff done. And he swamped himself by having to have an active hand in everything he did, everything that was in the shop. And you can't do it all on your own if you have other people there to help you. And yes, there is. I can kind of commend Guy for wanting things to be perfect, but I am friends with a lot of high-end knife makers, and a couple of them have got OCD, and even they told me the best advice I ever got. I was working on knives, I was making a knife, and I had a very, very well-known, very famous knife maker come up behind me, and I was cursing and swearing, I was mad, and I was like, I just can't get this right, I can't get it. And he's like, what's wrong with it? And he had the knife in his hand, and he looked at it, and he looked at me, and he goes, I don't see what's wrong with it. And I was like, well, the plunge, this and that, it's not quite exactly perfect, and he's like, he looked at it, he goes, I don't see it. And he goes, if I don't see it as a knife maker, you're gonna see it because you know what's there. You know what's wrong. He's like, but the guy you're making this knife for isn't gonna see it. And so this was Bob Trezwola, right? And Elliot's standing there looking at me, and he goes, Mike, there's a little adage you need to learn. There's good, there's perfect. He's like, there's good, there's perfect. He's like, and then there's good enough to fucking sell, which means you got to just say fuck it sometimes and put that thing out and get it out to the customer because you don't get paid till they get the knife. I was like, after that, I would literally just hand the knife over to someone else. I'd be working on a knife and I could see the flaws in it because I, when making a knife, am extremely OCD. Almost to the point of having a touch of the tism. I would hand the knife off to 3 other people. I would hand it to Chris, I'd hand it to Elliot, and I would hand it to whoever else was in the shop, and I would say, you see anything wrong with this knife? No, it looks perfect to me. Fuck it, out the door it goes. There's good, there's perfect, and there's good enough to fucking sell, get it out the goddamn door. There's knives that I made that had flaws, but then again, I've seen knives that people that are much better knife makers than me that have put out, and I find flaws in them. I am so famous. Guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you have a brand new knife, right? You have a brand new knife, why is that there? If you have a brand new knife, do not let me see it until you get past the honeymoon period and you start to see little things with the knife. All knives come to you and you have a little honeymoon period with the knife. I see some flaws in this knife now that I didn't see when I first got it. There's a couple little minor flaws in this knife, particularly in the way this swedge is ground. It does not affect the knife at all. So I'm past the honeymoon period on this. But people will give me a knife that they've just gotten and it's their new baby. It's their favorite. It's their coolest and newest. And I'll take it and I'm like, huh. Did you notice the plunge is a little bit off? And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, look, the plunge is a little off from side to side. And it's just got ever so slight a misgrind down the entire length of the blade. It just looks like it's canted over. And then I'm like, and it's just slightly favoring the, and they're like, give me my knife back. You can't let me see a brand new knife. I will ruin it for you while you're in your honeymoon period. And then when I do that, you're going to be upset because then you cannot unsee it. I've done it to Nico. I've done it to Matt. I've done it to Elliot. I've done it to customers. I've done it to friends. They'll bring a knife. Oh, check this one out. And they're like, just don't let Mike fucking see it. Because I'm going to point out things just because of the way I look at things. Just how I look at things. Being me. I fucked that shit up for people. What was this? Sid says, I know. That's how I learned when starting. I wanted my first knife to be perfect. Then I did. Then an old Norwegian knife maker told me, get them done. Number 200 and number 1000 is where all the lessons are learned and really show. Yeah, between you're gonna make knives, you're gonna make mistakes, and a lot of people, when you get sorry about that. When you get a knife, if I get a production knife, I am much more inclined. I'm gonna tell you right now, I am much more inclined to punch holes in a production knife than a hand ground, handmade custom knife. You know why? These processes on this knife should be absolutely duplicatable. If there's a guy that's standing in front of a grinder with no jig, just freehand grinding like this, like I did, I'm much more inclined to overlook some minor flaws in that knife because having been a knife maker, I know how difficult that is. It's super, super difficult. And if you get good at it, which I did get good at it, like, I'm not gonna lie, not to toot my own horn, but fucking beep. My knives that came out, my custom knives, were close enough to perfect that I had really, really famous knife making guild members look at them and go, how many knives have you made? And I was like, I don't know, 50, 60. And they're like, that's nuts. The problem is I can't do it anymore. One, I don't have a place to do it. Two, I just physically can't do it anymore. I'm 50, I'm falling apart. I'm like 14 years from retirement. That is, if I can get another goddamn job. You know what I want for my birthday? I want my job back. So, Well, now that we're off of that a little bit, what is everyone carrying? Today I have my PM2 in pocket, and yeah, you're welcome. Like I said, I fuck up the honeymoon period for knives. Don't let me see your brand new knife. I'll punch holes in it. I said I wasn't going to do it. You guys talked me into it. It wasn't expensive. I found it. I got it at Glow Rhino. Yeah, today's my birthday there, fuck Sergeant Rock. That's what I was telling everybody. I do this every year on my birthday. If you want to give me some birthday money, drop a super chat. If not, at least drop a fucking like. This is the Glow Rhino. This is the Glow Rhino lanyard hole plug that you can get for Spydercos. It's a one-piece thing. It drops in. It fills in the spot for that. I'm probably going to get one for this one. I hate that lanyard hole. I hate the way it looks. This looks a little cleaner. And it's got a Tridium vial in it, and it sits there and glows. And Tridium glows all the time. And it glows pretty bright, to be honest. Holy shit! I wish I had my bell. I used to have a cowbell that I would ring. Like the song says, have a drink on me. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. So go check out Sergeant Rock's Headbangers Ball over on Rumble. He basically does like the old MTV style Headbangers Ball like they used to when they actually played music. And he does a lot of stuff. And I get to be... I've gotten to be a guest DJ by picking a few songs a couple times. Where do you get your Tridium? I didn't get it. It came like this from Glow Rhino. I'm going to tell you a secret. I found this out, being in the knife industry and finding out in the know and getting to talk to some people. Glow Rhino is about the only place that you're going to get Tridium vials. They provide almost all of the Tridium that you're going to find in the United States. SIG, night sights, all that stuff. They produce all the Tridium vials you're going to find. So they made this. It's titanium with a Tridium vial right there. You can almost see it glowing a little bit. It glows. Yeah, there you go. You can see it glowing. It's cool. It glows at night, but it gets rid of that ugly lanyard hole. And basically, I put a radioactive butt plug in my knife. It's a sentence I never thought I'd hear myself say. Sergeant Rock, I really appreciate that. That is amazing. That is pretty cool. That does feel good, especially knowing that I don't know when I'm going to go back to work. I don't know. I really want to go back. I love that job. I love that job, and I got laid off because I was carrying knives. Isn't that about a retarded way to? Oh. Isn't it about a stupid way? I said one of them YouTube no words. Nah, it's definitely getting demonetized. I had somebody ask me about the cold steel tie light yesterday, and why aren't I in the garage anymore? Well, for a couple reasons. I do them vertically like this now, and it just doesn't have me tethered. We can go anywhere. I've got you guys on here with my wireless microphone system, and I can get up and move around and do stuff. This is just easier, and it honestly, more people view it when you do it vertically like this. And when I would do the live feeds and I would put all that work into setting up the studio and the green screen and the software and getting everything ready the way I wanted it, by the time I'd done that couple hours and then did a live feed, I'm into it like 3 hours, 4 hours. And then when people stopped dropping super chats, I felt like I had put so much work into doing those live feeds that way and spent money on the studio software, and I was doing it out there. I just felt like if I didn't get super chats, that I just wasn't like I would get up all rate. Like I'd be like, bro, I've been doing this for like 30 minutes and I haven't gotten a super chat. I don't want to do that anymore. So this is a much more relaxed way to do this. And like I said, I can get up and move around. I've got a wireless microphone system. You guys get the same audio regardless where I'm at. And this is just basically more comfortable. It's cooler in here. It's What are we at? It's only 75 degrees right now, but the sun this time of day is just on that garage, even on a a more overcast day like this. It'll be, well, let's go see. Let's go see. Let's go to the studio and see. The editing I do is tedious. I understand it. Go with what's easiest. Yeah, and on top of that, like when I'm filming and doing, like, it is tedious. I do a lot of editing. And so to do all that stuff, let's go out here. It is currently at 81 degrees in the studio. And on top of everything, I don't want to have to clean this up. If I'm going to be out here, I'd rather relax. I did have a couple beers last night, though. What is this? $400 for a cold steel liner lock. What liner lock are you talking about that was $400? Yeah. He's got a hot spot on his foot that I have to take care of later today. And guys, if you're here, please drop a like. Grab a push broom and call it a day. Nah. I like to keep the studio cleaned up a little bit. I do spend a lot of time out there. I don't have my PS5 out there anymore. I had been playing out there, but it started getting so hot, and I have a friend of mine that sent me a PlayStation Portal. So my PlayStation is all the way upstairs in the bedroom, connected directly to the router through a wired LAN connection, and I just basically play on my PS Portal. What we got here? Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, yeah. Memorial Day weekend. Let's see here. No knife rolls are retarded. So I'm trying to do something. Do you guys know how to do this? So it says I can celebrate. Let's celebrate their first super on a live stream, and I want to do it, but the only option I have is to remove it, report it. I don't know. Knife Life. This is, so if you guys know anything, my buddy Andy owns Nowpack Group. Nowpack Group has got cases and knives and knife accessories. They're one of the largest vendors of Pelican cases across the country. They make custom knife case inserts for Pelican cases and ammo cans to make knife cases. And Andy started a company called Knife Life. Shopcat is gone. I hate to say that. I hate to say that, Beard of the Weirdo, but Shopcat has shuffled off this mortal coil. The last time we saw him was the day before my wife and kid left for Japan. I came home, I went to work that night. My wife and daughter left for Japan in the morning. And I came back after work because I was working nights at the time. And I came back and there was a huge big puddle of blood out front with cat paw prints in it. And it's the last time we ever saw Shopcat, which is sad because that was the Chunk's bestest buddy. He loved that cat. That cat was here the day we brought him home, and that cat laid there with him. That cat played with him every day, all the way up through until just recently, a year later. So he still sees a bunch of cats, and every time he sees a cat, he wants to go play with a kitty cat. So, guys, please drop a like if you are here. I would really appreciate it. It definitely helps with the algorithm. Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once. My daughter has my car and is out and about hanging out with her friends. Spyderco. We talked about Spyderco yesterday, and I told you guys that I have what I think is the best Spyderco. My favorite Spyderco, and what I didn't mention, It's the Cold Steel 60 Series Spectre. I don't know if I know that one. What I didn't mention yesterday is, well, Spyderco has what I think is their best knife. And this is the best one they make. This is my favorite Spyderco currently. I used to say the Endura series was my favorites. I still love the Enduras. This is absolutely a beast. It's awesome. It's in my pocket all the time. This is my favorite Spyderco just because it is so iconic. It's the one that I always saw in magazines. But I did a video not long ago, and I still stand by it. Spyderco has on the market what is absolutely the best EDC knife, hands down, on the market. I mean, and we're talking from, it's better, it might not be a knife I like more than Knife of the Year. Like, this is, I definitely is my Knife of the Year. I absolutely love it. But as far as all-around EDC purposes, Spyderco PM2 is the best EDC knife on the market, in my opinion. It hits all the wickets of what I want out of a knife. It has the size factor that you want. You don't give up a lot when it comes to like blade size, blade length, carry purposes. It is just about the best all-around, it is, like I said, in my opinion, the best all-around EDC you're going to find. It's an easy package to carry. It's easy to deploy. It is ambidextrous. It is this compression lock. This thing is absolutely great. I did dye the scales on this to a darker color. Geez, KO Knives. Okay, that is a PM2 in my hand. That's a full size, that's the full size military. My hands are big enough, it can be deceptive. Like, I had a guy tell me that I was mistaken. He told me, he's like, no, that's the PM2, that's the Para 3. And I'm like, no, that is a full-size military 2, that is a PM2. And there is no PM3, there's a Para 3. It's not the Para, it is not to argue semantics and be that dick, but if you go look, it is not sold as the Para 3. It's not sold as the PM3. It is the Para 3. It is not the paramilitary. So, like, just to not be a dick. But in my hands, everybody was like, well, no, that's a Para 3. I was like, no, it's not. It's PM2. No, like I said, that's cold steel tie light. It's not a little knife. This is not a little knife, and I'm just a big guy. Like I said, I'm 6'3", and I wear XXL gloves. So I got something in. The video was going to go up today, but I decided to do this instead. This is the Rosecraft Blades Barlow that I got from Scab. What's the point, EDC? Scab is such a great dude. I'm so glad. I need to get you to send me a DM on Instagram so that I can like actually have conversations with you too. Because like I said, I started following your channel when he told me about it. Donnie B all day. I didn't know Donnie B all day either until he pointed it out to me. And he does a lot of cold steel stuff. This is the Rosecraft Blades Barlow. And this thing is great. And I thought he sent this to me for review, and I was like gonna send it back to him. I was like, I was gonna clean it up and sharpen it. I told him, I was like, I'd probably do a new satin on it because I'm scared. He's like, no, that's yours. I'm like, bro, stop giving me knives. So this thing is probably one of the best all around traditional slip joints you're going to find. And I'm noticing that from Rosecraft. And not a knock. I'm going to say something here. This is not a knock against Jack Wolf Knives. I absolutely love what Jack Wolf Knives is doing in the industry with bringing a modern touch to the traditional slip joint market. Why am I sitting way forward like this when I have an entire sofa that I could be sitting on? Just don't have anything to put you guys on. So I was carrying this. I was carrying this. I can tell you exactly what happened. Let me explain. So one of two things happened. It was either when I was cutting up my food with this, or I filmed a short in the break room. So someone complained. So at any rate, I love what Jack Wolf Knives does. I love Ben. Ben's got an awesome business plan. I love the fact that he's bringing interesting things and he's bringing new people into that space, like the traditional and slip joint knives space, which was reserved for old dudes like my dad and my grandfather and a few of us like me and Advanced Knife Bro and stuff like that. Northeastern Cutlery, Great Eastern Cutlery, is an amazing brand, but their knives are, one, really hard to come by because limited quantities, and two, fucking expensive. And this takes us kind of back to a time where you could just go to Ace Hardware and pick up a good little Barlow knife. And it was just that. There's no bells and whistles on this. Gray bone, steel bolsters, Warncliffe sheep's foot blade, I mean, and a nice looking logo. It's not trying to be anything special. It's not trying to be anything outside of what you would expect. It's just trying to be what it is, which is what makes it so good. Because when you focus on just that, making it a good slip joint, not making it gimmicky, not trying to go out of your way with super steels, not trying to make crazy handle materials and things like that, what you wind up with is something that is elegantly beautiful and purpose-driven. I have cut more cardboard with this in the last week than any of the other knives in my collection. This has hogged through so much material. D2, it's just elegant simplicity. It's beautiful. I say the same thing about that Clinch River. Let's go get that. That one spends a lot of time in my pocket. Clinch River, the Warncliffe on that is really good. They are both amazing knives. All of the slip joint stuff that I've seen come out of Rosecraft has just been incredible. This one lives in the slip that was designed for this knife. So this is, we're coming back here. Slip joints were always old school knife guys' knife. It is, and like I said, I really can appreciate Jack Wolf Knives, Ben bringing them into the modern. So you're getting the best of both worlds. You've got modern slip joints that people can get into. The younger guys can get into them because they are cool, they are flashy, they are pop and flash and stuff like that. But then you also, sorry, I got another text. You also get guys that get into then these. So you're offering the best of both worlds. You've got really quality slip joints coming out of Jack Wolf Knives that are going to get the younger guys enthused in it. And then you've got companies that are doing just amazing slip joints that are done in the traditional, sorry guys, my allergies are bad. What I do with, there it is. So this knife came with a slip, and I've found myself using that slip for so many other things. This is the Clinch River swayback. And this is, you guys are gonna see, I use the shit out of this. And this is probably the best slip joint knife I've had. I even put a lanyard on it. Everybody was like, why don't you like lanyards? I typically don't like lanyards. On this, I think it's cool, and it just pretty much sums up. If you're gonna put a lanyard on a knife, put a bead on it that says something about yourself or how you feel about others. So D2 ruins it for me, I'll rust it. I do too, but I have noticed, I don't know if it's a matter of the heat treat that they're using, whoever does their production, or if it's just the finish that's on it. Plus I stay on top of these ones. I haven't had the issue with these rusting. But like I said, I have been really good about staying on top of keeping them clean, sort of. But yeah, absolutely. This is not just attractive. This is, look at that. That is super comfortable. And the fact is that these swaybacks were meant to be used in a fashion like this where you're cutting back. And you could do some trimming, some hoofs, so you get a really good grip on it going this way. And these are some of the best done slip joints you're going to find. I have to say, like, if you handed me this without any markings and handed me a Great Eastern cutlery, I don't know if I could tell you the difference. Like, that's saying a lot, and that's not diminishing how good Great Eastern cutlery knives are. I've seen a bunch of them. But that's telling you how good these are. Like the seam where the blade locks to that, it does not look like my sea snake. It definitely looks different than my sea snake. It looks, I would say that the only thing that looks like it on my sea is the blade. Like right there. From there up, which just means it's a Wharncliffe. Everything else about it is completely different. The Wharncliffe blade style is pretty much a Wharncliffe's a Wharncliffe's a Wharncliffe's a Wharncliffe. So, it's the sea snake's a great knife. Well, it's Raccoon Sex Dungeon. Been watching you live for almost 10 years. Sometimes I wish we could get back under that blue easy up and just enjoy the stonefish for what it was. I know what you went by. Raccoon Sex, I know who this is. There are some people, Beard of the Weirdo, 2A Dave. There's a bunch of like the guys that have been on the channel for a long time. You were a paying member for a while, if I remember correctly. I mean, I understand, guys. I absolutely understand the paying member thing. I don't have near the paying members. I can't do the content I want for the paying members anymore the way I want. I had to delete the app for the Discord off my phone because it was using 8-10 gigabytes, and a lot of the stuff for the memberships has fallen by the wayside. However, if you guys are interested, I have a membership. It's in the links down below. I have like 3 knives that I owe giveaways to the paying members for. I'm also going to, I broke down, even though I know money's tight, there's some videos I want to do that are like interview style videos. I purchased a second microphone so that I can do 2-channel, like actual videos where we're both on the same audio. Definitely would have helped when I did the video with Bob Truzzola. Absolutely would have helped with the audio a little bit, but you know how us YouTubers go, plus I write that off of my taxes. So when you do YouTube, you don't get taxed up front. So a lot of times what I do is any money that I would make from this, I then look at how much I would owe in taxes, and I take some of that income and I purchase items that would be equivalent to the amount of tax, and I use them as a tax write-off. So if I know I'm gonna have to pay this much tax, I'm gonna write off a bunch of stuff. I should start buying knives and writing them off as a business expense, but you know, it's just one of those things. That's how I got a laptop. That's how I got the lights. That's how I got it. You just piecemeal things together. So this is a knife you should check out. I really do still think that this is a knife everyone should check out. It is not the gimmicky thing that I thought it was. This spends way more time in my pocket than I ever thought it would. This is that Yan EMW. I know we've talked about it a bunch of times, but it's my birthday and I'm gonna talk about the stuff I want to talk about. I absolutely love this thing. It's a lot like, well, I mean, it's a lot like this. It's a modernized version of a knife that my father always used to carry. So this is a slip joint. This one is a front flipper, but if you've ever seen a muskrat, It's basically like this. This is a little bit bulky, a little bit bigger, and it runs on bearings, it's front flipper, and it's a frame lock. And you're like, okay, that sounds way different than a traditional. A traditional slip joint muskrat had two blades that were either identical or very similar. And they were so if you look, wow, let's do this the right way, Mike. If you look, you've got two blades that are very, very similar to a muskrat on either side of that. And instead of it just being a slip joint, it's a front flipper frame lock. And it is insane how good this is and how easy it is to carry, how much fun it is to carry, and how well, and I know a lot of people complain, they're like, well, why would I want a pocket slip when it's gonna take up that much more space? It doesn't really take up that much more space, and the fact is, I put this in my left pocket where I typically don't carry a knife. Okay, I typically don't carry a knife that I'm gonna be going after very often. And so the lack of a pocket clip makes this so much more comfortable. Like, the reason I talk about like hating pocket clips so much is I remember the first Spyderco clippets. I remember when they first came out, they were in the pistol magazines that my dad always got, like Guns and Ammo and things like that. And they had the integral pocket clip that was built into it. It was like the new thing in the knife industry. And Sal Glesser single-handedly made that such an integral part of knives that now you basically can't get very many knives without them. I wish that there was a happy medium. Anthony Marfione over at Microtech had a very good concept. I don't know if you guys remember this. I can't remember which knife it was, but it had a pocket clip that was flush, and you would push here, and it would open up, and you would slide it over your pocket, and then when you pulled it out of your pocket, it would drop back flush. It was spring-loaded, and it was inside the scales. Unfortunately, it was very, very fragile, and it wasn't the greatest of pocket clips, but it was about the best you were gonna find. Do I still have my Sebenza? Yeah, I still use my Sebenza for every video that I do size comparisons. So that was a very good concept of having a pocket clip that was spring-loaded and it was down inside the handle, and you would push down on it and it would lift up, and then you could drop it over your pocket, and then it would sit back down inside the handles flush. But the problem was it had a pivot point. It came out like this. It didn't sit on your pocket very nice, and it would, when you would push it down further, it would open up, and then the knife would be basically held by the spring tension back here as opposed to up at the front of the clip. It didn't work in that iteration, but basically abandoned it, and I'm like, oh, that could have been so much better. That could have been so much better for the knife industry to have a pocket clip that wasn't there when you're holding. Now this pocket clip's extremely comfortable. Several of these, Spyderco's pocket clips, typically super comfortable. But it would give you the best of both worlds. The other option, the closest you can get to that, is a pocket slip with a pocket clip on it, which this is great. This is a great, great thing. I use this for so many different knives. I use it for what it was designed for the Yan EMW. I use it for my Clinch River, so I can sit in pocket, and then I can grab the lanyard. And then I can also put my exogravity knife in here in a pocket slip and carry it instead of needing that Kydex sheath that mine came with. So pocket slips are absolutely an incredible item that get overlooked. They are like way up there on the spectrum of EDC things that people forget exist. And then people come, I wouldn't want that. And I was like, have you ever tried one? They are great for the purpose. Call Wrangler Star what you will, but taking pocket clips off is a great idea. I hate Wrangler Star. I hate him. I used to watch his content, and then he just went off the rails, and he does so much that is just like stuff that he points out or tries to say is just so far off base when it comes to like sharpening and things like that. And the way he strops like heavy pressure, and I'm like, no, that is not how you strop. That's how you ruin your edge. Does a buck 110 fit in that slip? It should. the buck 110 is not any bigger than this, I don't think. Dwayne Letterman. Hello, sir. So, yeah, this, I think the buck 110 should fit in that. If not, you could stretch it. I mean, this stretches really well. I haven't had this in here for a while, and so the leather has kind of compressed itself back down or tightened back up. But after, if I put this in my pocket and carry, which as a matter of fact, that's what we're gonna do. This is gonna be my carry today. I haven't had it in my pocket for a while. I've had the slip in my pocket. So, what are you doing? Are you trying to get my attention and get me to play with you? Huh? What's going on? Okay, so I knew somebody was going to ask about that. So Beard of the Weirdo is the Microtech MK. It is and isn't. So it's a little bit different formulation. It's like a proprietary blend, if you would, like when you buy vitamins. So it's a little bit different from what I understand. It does sharpen differently, and it takes a little bit different of an edge than the other M390. The edge feels, I really don't know how to describe it. At this grit, which is 1,000 grit, and other knives I have in M390 at 1,000 grit, the edge on this definitely feels more aggressive. It was really easy to sharpen, which a lot of times would indicate to me that on a steel like this, it would be like the heat treat would be a little soft, but the edge retention has been really good. And I do carry this a lot. I use it a lot. I cut with it a lot. So I've got a more aggressive edge at the same grit. And I did side-by-side comparison with M390 I have on some other knives. I have 2 other knives in M390. At the same grit, this is a much more aggressive edge. It seemed to be easier to sharpen, and it seems to be holding its edge as well. So I really don't know what got changed, but it's not the same. The carbides definitely feel a little bit bitier on this at 1,000 grit than it does on my other knives. So I'm curious. I imagine Laren is eventually going to do that and talk about it. My buddy Jack just sent me a happy birthday. So a bunch of people sent me a happy birthday. I'm curious about that too. I imagine Laren will get into the fray and take a look at it and see. I put a lot of stock in what he says. I love how he was very, I love how even when the ARRPM 9 thing came up, he was very clear on his part. Like a lot of people are like, oh, they were trying to rip people off. I honestly think, as he said, that a lot of it was just miscommunication. There was, like, even the people that I talked to at Artisan and CJRB, they were like, we did not know. Like, that took us by surprise. But the fact is that powdered metallurgy and spray form deposition are very similar. Like they're like cousins, really close cousins, like half brothers almost. It comes down to it's really not that different. I do understand how the powdered metallurgy is a smaller, particulate size and stuff like that. But when you look at it, it's definitely a very similar process. But I had a bunch of people go ape shit on me about, like, oh, are you going to apologize for what you said about ARRPM 9? And I was like, why? I didn't make that steel. It's still a good steel. It's really good. It holds up pretty well. It's really rust resistant, and I mean really rust resistant. The edge retention is on par with other steels like D2 and 14C28N, if not better. But the flip side of that is it is super responsive to stropping. I have knives in AR RPM 9 that I have never sharpened. All I've done is strop them on newspaper wrapped around a block of wood. It is a very, very good, easy to maintain steel. And I really get upset with a lot of, I'm gonna drag you guys the whole table. I really get upset with these guys who are like, you saw them come out, oh, I knew it wasn't powdered. And I was like, the fuck you did. You didn't know until Laren said it. You just jumped on the bandwagon. And so all these guys that were screaming about how good it was and singing its praises, then immediately jump off that and we're like, oh no, I knew it wasn't. I'm like, I'm not, I knew it wasn't, and I knew it wasn't powdered metallurgy, and I'm just never going to use it again. I was like, I don't believe you. You literally 6 weeks ago were talking about how amazing steel it was. So ARPM 9, Laren did a video over at Knife Steel Nerds. Laren did a video talking about it, and he really didn't rip it too bad. I mean, he did say, he's like, okay, well, you've got some rare earth elements and stuff in it that like you could go ahead and say, yes, there are, but it's minimal. Is it really affecting? It's negligible. You can't really say whether it was or it wasn't. But the fact was that they said it was powdered metallurgy and it was spray form deposition, which is very similar. And I think, like I said, I think the problem was a miscommunication between the production house and the people that were doing the marketing, which is something that Laren said out loud. But everybody fucking wanted to jump on everybody about, like, oh, you need to apologize. You said this was powder. I'm like, I don't need to apologize.
I always keep one in the chamber. Good.
The fuck is that? Getting a bunch of birthday texts. So, in my testing, the AR RPM 9 Pyrite got less cuts than 9 CR 18 MOV by a good bit. I need to do a second test to make sure my results are correct as possible. I think it depends on the 9CR you're using and what the heat treat was. Like I said, I do find that the stroppability of it, well, I think, here's the thing. AR RPM 9 is now the name of the steel. I don't think they're going to change that. So, like, I mean, really, are you going to change the name of something after you've, because they've already, here's the thing, they have patents for it in China. So they would have to go back through the entire process for renaming it and stuff like that. It just doesn't make any sense. That's the name of the steel, right? Like, are you going to change the name of MagnaCut just on a whim and whimsy? No. The information's out there. People know. AR RPM 9, I don't think a lot of people even knew that the RPM, what was it? Artisan, I forget what it stood for. I forget what it actually stood for. Most people don't know what that stands for. It's just the name of the steel. 99% of people in the knife industry, Lone Star, don't know what like 9CR18 MOV means or 14C28N, what that equates to. And a lot of times the names of steels really don't matter when it comes to the when it comes to the overall thing here. Was this? What's the point? I did the Sencut Glide Strike as a comparison knife steel, not to put AR RPM 9 down, but I expected to outperform quite a few steels in its category. It's also a steel that you're getting on $50 knives, you know? And it does have some things, you give up some stuff anytime you change from a rolled steel to a when you're going from a cold rolled steel or a hot rolled steel to a PM or a spray deposition, you're going to have some changes. You may gain some things here and there. You may lose some things here and there. It's just, you know, it's for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. You know what I mean? There may be some stuff going on. What is this? George asked the best blade shape for EDC. Are you a bot? Because I'm pretty sure that you have asked me that exact same question numerous times, and I've told you every time. Warncliffe is the best all-around blade shape for most people, unless you have specific tasks. As long as the tests are done on identical blades with the same sharpening angle or grit before comparing. Yeah, you're right. It's a $50 knife. Glide was $41. I do like budget knife steels, although it's held up. I'm getting another. Guys, I hate election season. Political call. I get so many of these. This is the old. So if you guys know, when I had the LLC, the phone number here, I had 2 phones. This was the business phone. And so I don't carry it anymore. So this new phone is a different number, and it's a better. Holy crap, does that thing get a lot of calls? So, guys, I don't know if I think I'm gonna go clean up the studio and get a bunch of stuff done. There will be a video going up on Sunday. I'm not going to leave yet, but I am going to do that today. There is going to be no other video today. This 2 hours that we're going to do here will be our content for today. Because, I mean, in all honesty, I don't need. I'll probably do a couple shorts, but I think I want to spend my day off. Is anybody else having problems with the sound? What about now? How's that sound? Can you guys hear me now? I need to know if you've got me now or not. Can you hear me? Oh, that can't be good. Well, hang on a second. Let me see. Can you hear me, though? Got room echo. You can hear me now? You can hear me, but is there like a lot of echo? Hang on. Can you hear me? I'm trying to see. Oh shit. Okay, well hang on a second. Hang on. How about now? Because I have 2 microphones. Can you hear this? Is this better?
Because I have 2 microphones.
Oh, there we go. There it is. Huh. I wonder what happened.
Is this better now? Because I have 2 microphones. Oh, there we go.
Oh, well, I don't know what happened. We're going to have to take a look at that and see why this one kicked off, because it says it's fully charged. That is weird. There's a playback going on. So this should take care of it. We're gonna try to figure out what happened here. That's the first time I've ever had to do that. Go argue. Is it still? Did you lose it on this one too? So, hopefully, can you guys hear me now? I'm gonna turn everything off. Can you hear me? Fuck. It's the first time I've ever had problems with these. Let's try it again. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to try and reconnect these and see what happens. Okay, so is that better? Are we getting the proper audio now? I think I just had to turn them off and start over. Let's try and get this. Is that better? There we go. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There we go. There we go. I don't know what happened. I've never had it do that, but I do have to say, I had a video that I filmed recently out in the yard, and so the new camera I have, I can't get these microphones to interface with the camera. The adapter doesn't work, but the thing is, I can record on this device locally. So I can record on the device locally. I don't have to worry about losing the audio. And so I recorded all of the audio and I married the video and the audio together, and it came out great. It really did come out great. Till the last 2 minutes of the video. It got off sync. I don't know how. It was all one cut. It was all one take on the camera. It was all one recording on the device, but it absolutely got out of sync. So that tells me that there's a little difference between the compression on the camera and the compression on the audio for the microphone. So that means that from now on when I do it, I can't do big long takes. I can do segments, which really isn't that big a deal. I very rarely am I going to film like that. And for most of the stuff I do, the actual microphones on the camera are really good. You guys, I wanted to point this out. So I have purchase links to the new camera that I got. I have links to those down in the description, but I wanted to show you guys this camera in case you guys want to know. Not so much that I want you guys to buy the camera on my recommendation. I just wanted to point out, I think this is way better than a GoPro. I really do. I have had zero issues with it. I've had none of the issues my buddy has with his GoPro. I'm bringing it in right now. It is an action cam. It's basically a GoPro. Completely waterproof. It's got a lot of stuff going for it, but it does have some really cool features for it that I dig. And it has allowed me to do a couple things with that camera that I couldn't do when I'm doing it like on any other device. So it takes a bit of setup to get everything going. But it's the Action, what is this? This is the Insta360 Ace Pro. And it's an action cam. It's got a fully positional, you can put, how do I say this? You can position this screen to do anything you want. It's got a completely waterproof housing and case, down to 35 meters. I've put this in the pool. I've taken it to the beach. You just wash it off. You put it in some fresh water. If you've been around salt water, you just submerge it in a container of fresh water after you make sure all of your ports are sealed. And this thing is great. So it's got a lot of stuff that it does. It's got an indicator on the front so you know what mode you're in. You can see what you're doing. You can change modes, camera, interval, HD. You've got all these other settings and things like that. It is got a really clear screen that is set up so that you can use it as a monitor to monitor yourself while filming. It can get distracting. I find myself not doing it. I find myself just like doing it like this. It's got multiple shooting modes. You can shoot up to 8K. So I've shot a bunch of stuff in 4K. I've shot a bunch of stuff. The really cool thing, if I can find one of the mounts in here. Do I have one in here? I don't. So the mounts that this connects to are not only magnetic, they've got latches. Now the cool thing is they also have an adapter that fits so that I can use all of the same things and do quick connects for my tripod. Let's just go here and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So the way it mounts, there's all kinds of stuff that come with it that, let me turn that off. That allow you some flexibility in how you mount your camera and stuff like that. It's really cool. And I know this isn't like my typical content, but let me show you. So that is the mount, and it will connect directly to your camera. But I also film with my, let's just take this in with us, may as well. It also has a connection. So not only can you connect, like say you have multiple devices you use. This connection right here is set so that you can just simply, you simply set your phone on it, or your camera on it, and then it goes on, and then you lock this. Right? You just lock that, and you can't take that off, even if you push those buttons. So not only is it magnetic to help you guide it on there, it also has two buttons that you push that connect to those, and it locks it in. But you can also simply put a tripod for a different device. So any of those you want to use, it's got the base that screws into it. And now with that mounting lug, I can just take this tripod and I can take both devices and I can pick and choose between them. Very, very cool. It allows me to just bounce between the two cameras and phone and however else I want to do it. Because the fact is, that thing does not have like it doesn't have a variable zoom, variable adjustment. It's a set focal length lens. It's a Leica lens, superbly clear video on this. It's got a Leica lens. It shoots super crystal clear video. The audio's not bad, even with the microphones that are built into it. And then things like that. But then there's stuff you can do with this that you can't do with the GoPro. So the battery port on this one is just simply the battery port. There is no connector in there to charge. So if you have a GoPro, and I have several friends that do, their big complaint is if their battery dies, just now, so the audio died again. This is getting frustrating. Frustrating. I've never had this happen before. Yeah, but that's not what I paid all this money for. Hang on. Is it back? What the fuck? So I don't know what's going on with this. This is going to be problematic because I've got about $500 tied up in these microphones, and they absolutely should not be dropping out. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they would be doing that. I don't know what would be causing it. Is it back now? I'm at a loss with what's going on with this. Well, here's the thing. Can you hear me if I walk away like this? Is it nice and clear, or is it muddled? How about now? Is it better? Is it better now? Are you getting audio now? There it is. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Maybe the battery in this one is dead. I have no idea. But there should be no reason. How about this one? How about this one? Can you hear me on this one now? Because I'm very confused. Very, very confused. Does it sound echoey? I don't know what's going on with this. At any rate, what I was saying was, it's got a lot of functions on this that I'm really impressed with. It's got, like I said, it's waterproof. I don't need a special case for it. You can rinse it off. Like I was saying, where the charge port is there, separate of the battery. So the problem with GoPro is when you open a GoPro up, you have to open this up and then plug it in next to the battery. But if the battery comes loose, you lose your recording. And so that eliminates that. It's separate from the battery. Like I said, 180 degrees. 180 degrees, you can go back facing, front facing in just the blink of an eye. Like I said, completely waterproof. It's got so many accessories. I did get extra batteries when I got mine. It was part of the pack that I got. So I got 3 batteries. Here's the big one. I used this all day at my buddy's to film, and it never overheated once. Never once did it overheat. And the battery life on this is about 100 minutes per battery. My buddy said he gets about 30 minutes out of a battery on his GoPro. So it doesn't overheat. It's got better battery life. It's got better camera functionality. You can do things like set it up so that it'll take a picture of the stars and allow it to rotate. Like you can set this thing up to like film the tilt and rotation of the stars around a central focal point. It's got really, really good slow motion. It's got another feature that is, so it has a time lapse, it has what's called a time shift, and there's an app that you can connect to your phone and have it go, like you can use your phone as a viewfinder, and you can take the footage right off. It has its own Wi-Fi network, and you can drop your footage directly to your phone, and you can edit them in the software that's in the app, and you can do cool things. I built those new intros where you use like the car, like in the car where you see like the cyberpunk kind of thing. I did that with the app on this phone. It has AI. It has some AI stuff that you can do. Also, some of the best low light filming I've done on any camera has been on this, and it's got some of the best stabilization. Oh, we got onto this. We got onto it because this is the new camera for the channel. I filmed a couple videos with this. I have a bunch of stuff for it. Like I've combined footage from from my phone, which has an amazing camera for like up close, and then I've filmed a bunch of other footage with this and things like that. So that's how we got it. And it has 3 different microphones on it. So you may not need an exterior mic like mine, but it definitely does come in handy for certain things. So absolutely one of the best purchases I made. Colin Furs had a video about it. Colin Furs did a video about it, and the first 30 people that used his link got the deal where you got all this. You can just plug it in, or it has, yeah, you can plug it in and run it. It has batteries. The battery charges pretty easily. It lasts pretty well. Like I said, this is the Insta360 Ace Pro, and there's links to it. There's a link to it down below. You can check out their website. They have a bunch of different options of different cameras and things like that. It's the same camera that makes that 360 cam that you see a lot of the motorcycle riders use, where it's like on the stick and you can see like 360 around their bike. Same company, but this is their version of the GoPro, and it's so much better than a GoPro. I never bought a GoPro because like I really didn't trust them, because I'd seen so many people. So this is their Gen 1. No, you can plug it in. So like it has a USB-C. So like if you are trying, I use this as my dash cam, because if you flip it up like this, it automatically flips and it will record vertically. It recognizes that you went like this. So when you you can plug this in to a suction cup mount and use this as your dash cam. When I do that, I simply plug it in, because the charge port, the USB-C port, is separate of the battery port. So you can plug this in with the battery, but it comes with a battery. But the package I got came with a total of 3 batteries. So you figure 100 minutes, I've got 300 minutes of filming. And if I take my battery bank with me, I have a charger hub where I can just throw the dead batteries in, plug a USB-C in this, plug these in, charge them while I'm using the other one. So yeah, it's the guy building the underground garage. So came with all kinds of stuff. So there's different packages and things like that, depending on what you need for your camera. Yeah, it doesn't flip it. So it, like when you flip it upside here, let me show you. Put this in. I bought some extra stuff with it too, that just kind of does make life a little easier, but I didn't necessarily need it. So when you turn it on, it automatically, see? It automatically flips itself. If you're going to film vertically, like for a short, it automatically changes it. So it's a really good camera. So, but that's not what this is about. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I don't really have a lot else going on today. I think we're going to try and go to eat somewhere later tonight or tomorrow. I know my daughter has skating tonight and some other stuff, so we're going to see. I may just hang out, get into a little bit of the jazz cabbage and play video games. I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of my birthday, but I do appreciate you guys hanging out. There has been a couple thousand of you guys that have been here for the duration of this live feed. So yeah, we're gonna do some stuff. I have some stuff coming. Jared said he sent me some stuff, should be here in the next couple days. Oh, I actually have one of Jared's knives here. I forgot that. I can't, my shoulder's all fucked up. My whole arm is jacked up, Beardo. I just can't. I can't film. I mean, I can't sharpen for more than like a little bit. I can maybe do 1 or 2 knives. And then I woke up this morning, I can barely use my arm today. I've got some stuff going on. I've got some shake. I got some palsy, and I've been told that I in all likelihood have some CTE, some like boxer's dementia that I'm going to start having to deal with before too long. Mine's not horrible, but it is a degenerative thing, which could explain some of the palsy in my hands and stuff like that, but a lot of it is nerve damage. This is Jared's knife, the misdemeanor. I don't know if you guys saw the short I did on this. He sent this to me. We're going to get into this. I am going to film a video about this maybe tomorrow morning. I just haven't been motivated to film. I'm just depressed about the loss of the job and everything. So this thing is great. These will be coming out in October. I'm going to get a video filmed about this one soon. But he sent me a bunch of other stuff that should be here in the next couple days. So, well, I mean, while I was active duty, I wound up getting like, I forget, the doctor said either like I have 10 or 15, no, 12 or either 12 or 15 documented concussions. So that's part of the problem. You can't get knocked about the head that often and not have something happen. And that's not, I mean, that's not even, that's concussions that were documented. That's not even like ones that, like, you know, playing football on a weekend, or, you know, hanging out with your buddies and you're underneath a truck and you slam your head and you give yourself a mild concussion. Who knows? So, but all right, guys. Well, I'm gonna get off of here. I'm gonna take a look and see if I can't figure out what's going on with these microphones, because I don't know why I would be getting. One, they shouldn't be interfering with each other, and two, they should not be kicking themselves off. But we're still good, right? We're still good on audio. We're still getting good, clean audio from these, not echoey and distant. I stretch all the time. I took martial arts for 15 years. I'm flexible. That's not the problem. Stretching isn't the issue, buddy. That's not a buggy. That is a. It's not a buggy. That is a sprint car. And no, it's not mine. That's Ricky Gaunt, U.S. Oval National Champions. And it's not mine. It's a sprint car, and it's a 360 cubic inch hand-built racing engine that's in every one of those. So it's a, like I said, it's a sprint car. I'll give you a good close look at it. It's an artist rendering. It's signed by Ricky Gaunt, 1999 Oval Nationals Championship, Ricky Gaunt. And that is a USAC CRA wingless sprint car. I'm a big fan. Big fan of the USAC CRA wingless sprints. So, well, guys, it's been 2 hours. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with you. But I want to do other stuff. I got my bashing of Paulo Blazano out of my system. So now I'm going to spend a little bit of time taking a look at my expensive equipment here and trying to figure out why some of it's not working. So I do want to try something, so I'm not unplugging or plugging anything in. So let me show you. It's telling me that I'm getting transmission. It says I'm transmitting, and it says it's receiving, as you can see right there. So I don't know if maybe this USB cord is bad, or hang on. Now, did it kick? What about now? Did it kick back on? I'm on my phone, bro. I'm on my phone. This isn't like I'm doing mobile. That's the only way I do it. I'm connected to my phone. So are you guys hearing me now? Did it start working again? Because it never stopped receiving. So I could have a bad USB cord. Who knows? I'll take a look and see. Huh, weird. It only seems to happen when I move the camera. So how are we now? Are we still... Fuck. Those cords aren't cheap. Those cords definitely aren't cheap. So, well, guys, it's been 2 hours. I'm done with this. I've had all the fun I can stand. If you want to let people know and like share this video around, then that would be great. So I do want to try one more thing. How's the audio on this? Can you guys still hear me? Because I was afraid that my lavalier mic, because these aren't cheap either. I was afraid that this was what was wrong. So it's good? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to get off of here because I got to poop. So I love you guys. Take it easy. If it's your birthday, like it is mine, have a happy birthday. And I'll see you next time.